Hi, this is James Shug with Westpac London's end of day report for Tuesday the 11th of December. Well, it was a positive day on equity markets today, although there were some good news stories, although some disappointing data too. It was one of those days where you kind of spin the story to suit the facts rather than any clear causality between the various positive news stories and the positive equity market gains we saw today. The US trade deficit, for example, it widened by about $2 billion in October. Exports were down 3.5%, imports down 2%. Both those numbers were probably impacted both by the superstorm and by the recent drought in various ways, so it's hard to get a clear read on what the underlying story was. We had the IBD TIPP Economic Optimism Index, which fell a further 3.5 points in December, on top of a 5.5 point fall in November. So in the last 2 months it's fallen very sharply, reversing the prior 2 months gain. The main driver of that is economic outlook and personal finances rather than assessment of federal policies, although we suspect it's the fiscal cliff that's been the big concern there. And in fact the NFIB Small Business Optimism Survey tumbled its steepest fall actually on record to its lowest in 2.5 years, with the expecting better economy component absolutely collapsing from +2 to -35, although 8 of the 10 components in that index were actually lower. But on the positive side, we had the German ZEW analyst survey, which was up sharply in December in terms of expectations, although the current index is still running at contractionary levels. So really, some disappointing US data, some positive German analyst data, and also just a sense that maybe the fiscal cliff negotiations were going well, and also that the Fed would likely announce further balance sheet expansion this time tomorrow when we get the results of the latest FOMC meeting. Nothing really concrete on those last two stories, but just a sense that was what's going to happen. So fiscal policy developments likely to be favourable, monetary policy developments likely to be favourable, driving markets higher. And so at the European close, you've got the London market pretty much flat, but the French market up 0.9%, the Germans up 0.8%, the Spanish market up 1.5%, and indeed the Italian market also up 1.5% today. And the Dow, as I'm talking, up about 0.75% at 13,263. Commodity prices, gold's down 0.33% today at $1,708 an ounce, but oil's up 0.1% at $85.68 a barrel, and copper prices are down around 0.33% at 369 cents a pound. The Aussie dollar is on 1.052. That's pretty much the highest it's been in 3 months now. We've got the Westpac Consumer Sentiment Index coming up for December, Wednesday Australian time. And in fact, Glenn Stevens, the Reserve Bank Governor, is in Bangkok. He's giving a talk there. So 2 things to watch out for locally. All right, that's it for today. Back with the Fed, etc. tomorrow. You'll be able to play it for yourself in 1 minute.